Hello everyone, my name is Michael Schofield, and as well as my gaming videos, I'm going to be looking at news stories. What better way to start than with an attractive woman who stabbed a guy and is now going to be avoiding jail. The interesting part about this generally is that 1, she's educated, 2, she's attractive, and 3, some sort of evidence that we're actually moving from a patriarchal society to a matriarchal society, which is pretty interesting. Some may argue, why the hell not? For thousands of years we've had patriarchal societies, so why not change it up, mix it up? Okay, you could do that. It's a possibility, and I might delve into that issue more in future videos. For this particular one, this lovely looking blonde lady called Lavinia Woodward stabbed her boyfriend Thomas Fairclough in the leg, but the judge has pretty much said that she should be allowed to continue at Oxford University. Wow. Student there because she has potential, and to put her in prison would take away her potential. Both sides of this can be understood. So it's too easy, some people, as you might have guessed with the way I was leading this up to say, I was prefacing, is that automatically we should hate her, shun her. She's awful. She's attractive, educated. We can't like her, right? But there is some merit in that if you have certain special talents, if you're a certain footballer who's better than your teammates, if you have the chance to potentially invent new things, reinvigorate a profession, contribute in some way, charity work, perhaps, that there should be a system where it's understood that whatever you've done is put into a certain context of the greater good. Is it outweighing what you were doing in terms of the bad? In a case of violence and stabbing, and especially if you look at this particular instance, she apparently has a history of violence, something that wasn't necessarily taken into account at the time of the judges judging her. So, is that still within the boundaries of the bigger picture? That maybe she could go on to maybe save more lives, as opposed to the 0 lives that she's taken. Stabbing someone could cause them their life, but the greater good, we look at philosophy and understanding of different perspectives. Is that right? I'm asking a lot of questions, or do I have a personal opinion? I think ultimately we can't have a system where you're going around stabbing people. No matter how attractive, how educated you are, I can understand the greater good argument, and to an extent I get it. If you had concrete proof you're going to invent something, innovate, to fundamentally change something, very hard to prove that, of course, but if you have already done something, I might even be able to forgive murder. We kill in all kinds of situations. If you have some amazing greater good, I can get to the point of understanding. All right then, if you want to go back and kill Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan, Napoleon, depending on which side you want to be on in your killing the bad guys version of history, Thomas Cromwell, who knows? That might be for the greater good. You can get all kinds of unintended consequences, and that is certainly a relevant point as well, in that you can't discount that. So, but I would say ultimately there are instances. There's at least philosophically the point, if you're producing a greater good, being a surgeon, being a doctor, really you could argue there's a greater good there. You should be allowed to do what you see fit. And so it's not as simple as some might say. How many issues are? Some issues can be simpler than we actually think. Most issues, though, do take more understanding and analysis and evaluation and looking at different perspectives to get to a better conclusion. For something like this particular instance, though, the other intended consequences do matter. If you just say, as we get with certain celebrity examples, Savile, Harris, even the likes of, not putting him in the same bracket, even the likes of David Beckham, who he says he does lots of charity work and automatically thinks, well, then I should be a knight, right? And why is Catherine Jenkins getting this? She was snorting cocaine. Why the fuck? Look, she hasn't been perfect. Why should she become a dame or have an OBE, whatever she has? You think you're doing a lot of charity work, you're doing the greater good, so then you have license to act however you want to act. Is that particularly useful, helpful, good? Again, the greater good should be from a position of that you're not conniving the situation. You are already automatically creating a greater good. And then your inaccuracies, your imperfections, your drug taking, your sleeping with prostitutes, your violence can then be put into some sort of context. No one's perfect. The geniuses are amazing. Isaac Newton was sticking a needle in his eye for an experiment. Pretty crazy, you could say. But then he was a genius. True geniuses. Albert Einstein was famous for his poor memory and with certain things, certain clumsiness, and his personal issues with his wives as well. He would just, I think he forgot his keys quite often. Geniuses, people who do great things, the point is, they can do bad as well. They will do bad. If you are very good at something, you're going to be very bad at other things. It's the nature of our brain. We're a jack of all trades, so anything that we're actually very good at, we're going to be very bad at other things. So with that said, the point that I just said, you can't connive something though. These greats, for the most part, weren't conniving that, okay, I do all these great things, now I can do all these bad things. In some instances, they would have been. But for the most part, it would have been as a consequence of their extreme personality. For her, this could be a consequence of her extreme personality, this Lavinia. She obviously has some issues, as people are telling her she needs to go seek help. She's been threatening people. It's not a one-off instance. It's not a manslaughter case where she was abused. She might have been abused, but it's not a one-off case in that she has threatened other people. She's been described as clever and manipulative. She will have her own backstory. Who knows where she came from, what abuse she might have suffered, mental abuse, arrogance, maybe from an elitist background, so she automatically thinks she's the mistress of the universe. There can be all kinds of different facets to stories like these that don't have a clear answer, but you need to appreciate that it's not as simple as either she's evil or she's perfect or she's attractive, so I'll just let her off. The judge, she could be a surgeon, so just let her off. It's as simple as that. So the answer is, for something as complicated as this, overall, what helps us as a society? What helps the individuals? What helps the collective? What's the message put across? What would it be like if we said, you have potential, so you can now be violent? Even if there is the greater good argument, even if scientifically you can understand the greater good argument, and in the extreme circumstances, you will agree with the greater good argument, you will agree with where you can do something that isn't along the lines of acceptability, but there's a greater good element to it. And, as I said, imperfections aspects of things as well. No one should be expected to be perfect, no matter what you are, where you come from, what position you do. It would be an extremely dull world if we had this utopia where we didn't do anything wrong. Hopefully we'll never get to that level. For this particular instance, can't be going around committing violence. If she wants to be a surgeon, who's going to want to be having her cutting into you or being a nurse? How can she be in the caring profession? Should she be stopped from having a good, skilled career? No, I don't think so. I think if you have enough potential there already, if you're educated to the point of you can do well, if you do well academically, you can do an awful lot, even if you stab someone. Because despite her threats, as far as we know, it was a one-time violent issue, as well as punching him in the face and throwing a laptop jam jar and glass at him, as I've just read. All one issue. Chick's got issues. She needs help. She needs help, and she needs to be a part of that process of wanting the help. That should be part of the court's order and understanding towards her punishment. She shouldn't just be let off that she can do what she wants because she has a good understanding of the medical profession, or she's educated to a certain standard with a certain potential. She needs to show, as any addict, any person with problems, she needs to show that she can overcome it. If she can do all those things, I don't think you should stop someone with that with so much potential from having a good, skilled life and having a great career. People, if not fully being able to change, can adapt, can improve, can live with mental illness, live with their own issues. If you are at that level, there probably is a difference between someone of that level and someone who's really unskilled. Even the unskilled, though, should be given other opportunities. They just won't be as high up the ladder. She shouldn't be in the caring profession, though. She's unfortunately too damaged where she can't be in that sort of profession with any credibility. This is the aspect I haven't seen many people actually say. Why should, if whatever she goes on to do, she can't be in that caring profession? With whatever rights we give to people, whatever is attributed to them, they cannot be allowed just carte blanche into any profession. If you have been proven to have some Parkinson's, some physical ailments, disabilities, you can't be in the army. If you have some sight issues and you haven't got glasses that work well, you can't be flying a plane. You can't be driving the car. There will always be, alongside the rights and privileges, restrictions. There will be always an asterisk, a little star, where you can't always do things because you can hurt other people. In this instance, could completely change her life. She's too much of a risk to other people, and she can't be in the care profession. And quite frankly, whatever profession she ends up being in, there has to be one eye kept on her, because she's proven, for a young, attractive, educated woman to stab someone, threaten other people, punch someone, the same person, to be as violent as she apparently is and manipulative as she apparently is, there's an issue there. She might have psychopathic tendencies, something like that, because it's such an interesting, in some ways extraordinary case that there will always be an eye kept on her. And that's a logical, not just a judgmental look down on her, but a logical eye will always be placed on Lavinia Woodward. An issue like this, where there are several different possible answers, lots of different facets to it, you have to look at the individual person as well, and the positions that they want to go into. I would say she can't be in the caring profession, but that she shouldn't be shunned because there is potential there. She can adapt, change, maybe not, but she can adapt. I think there are countless instances where people can adapt and live with mental illnesses, issues of violent temper, addiction, addictive behaviour. And so overall, something like this, she has to be treated with some sort of kid gloves. As much as we want to condemn, put her in prison and throw away the key, will that really get us very far? I don't know. We would be missing out on a talented person, especially in certain sectors that are lacking in certain talents. But no matter how much we may be lacking in certain talents in certain areas, certain professions, medical profession, you can't be messing around with people's safety. It's paramount. And someone like her, she's proven herself to be a risk. So she cannot, and this is where the judge has to be wrong, cannot go back into the medical profession. You just simply would never be able to trust her fully. As much as we can give her a life and career, she can't be properly trusted. That has to be the number one issue. Trust. We'll start off with trust, and then it can get to the point where we lose it. But anyway, this is my first video bash at one of my half rants, half analytical views. Other ones I might take more of a comedic view on them. Other ones I might be even more serious. But I generally like looking at issues like this that are not easy to analyse. There are different ways of looking at it, and of course if you had enough time, you could really get into an issue like this and look at the absolute pinpoint science and philosophy behind something like this. But overall, on this particular issue, give her a chance in some other line of work if she's proving she can be, given that chance, somewhat trusted. And with the analysis that not full compassion, you shouldn't just have free rein to do whatever you like, as some people would say. That's dumbing down society. If anything, we shouldn't do that. But anyway, that's my first take on an issue. I'm sure it was rambling, but overall, I enjoy these sort of issues to look at, pick at, analyse, add my own perspective on. So hopefully you'll come back for some even bigger issues in the future. Subscribe, bitches.